Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokat. Welcome to Star Nation's organization, specifically Star Nation's Publishing, and our brand new book that we just published called The Key of Life with author Ortrun Franklin. And this is the book launch party that we're doing to introduce both the book and Ortrun to you. And we have just a little bit of a technical issue. Isn't that always the way it is? Whenever we're doing live stream, you just never know what's going to happen. And so what happened is that we need some help. We would like to ask you all to give us a hand with something. Is that we had to start a new live stream, and that means that the link that we shared earlier isn't good anymore. And so what we need to do is to send the live stream to your friends and your family. It would really be nice if you even liked it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm taking my phone and I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to find our live stream here. It's only good that we've been doing this for such a long time that we hardly get fazed by it anymore. And so I've got my phone and I'm turning down my sound. And we're going to send it out, and we're going to ask Rebecca. Rebecca has joined us. Rebecca, if you could give us a hand and send it over to a friend or to your news stream, is help us get it shared out, because we had to start a brand new live stream link to this. And so a lot of people are going to have problems finding us. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing the same thing. I'm sending it over to my news feed so that everyone knows where we're at from my friends. Yeah, and Ortrun, you can do the same thing if you got your phone next to you. Otherwise, we'll just give this a second, and we're going to get this all shared out. And I'm also going to send it over to our main business page. That's a good one. And we're just going to invite everybody to join us. There we go. And we'll post that. And then you know what? Star Nation's community, which loves Ortrun Franklin, loves the Franklins, because they are some of our elders here at Star Nations. And I want to make sure that the community knows where to find us. And so I'm going to send it over to our groups, the live stream shows, and also I'm going to post that. And also the Academy. We have to remember the peeps over at the Academy. I just want to make sure I get the right one. There we go. And we'll post that. I think I got them. Ortrun, I'm gonna do this right now. I am going to send it over to your timeline for you, okay? And that way, everybody that knows you and loves you will know where to find you. And we'll invite them to please join us. There we go. There. Get that posted. There. We did our own little stuff here, right? All right. So welcome, everybody. And I see Joey's in the house. Your niece is here. We'll show her off a little bit. Okay. All right. So I would like to introduce to you our next brand new author here at Star Nation's Publishing. And her name is Ortrun Franklin. And Ortrun and I, we've been friends for a while. And so I know her quite well, but I'd like you to know her as well. So here is her bio that we use for both her book and also for Star Nation's magazine, for which she is a contributing writer and also live stream show host for us. Okay, so Ortrun Franklin has led an extraordinary life, and that's putting it lightly. This extraordinary life begins in her early childhood. Ortrun, did you know that she was born in Yugoslavia during World War II? She fled the Russians with her mother at age 2 months old. She was only a baby. She crossed the Atlantic Ocean to America and adjusted to different language and culture. Losing her father at age 14 caused her to question what was life all about. She retreated to her church, where she experienced solace through prayer. meditation came easily for her. She recognized that meditation was her way of life. She began teaching and leading meditations, and let me tell you, they are so good. Her melodic voice brought about peace, harmony, and a sense of at oneness for those listening. Soon, she became a sought-after voice to set the tone of conferences and seminars throughout North America. Her meditation CDs are utilized throughout the world. Her thirst for knowledge led her to undertake many disciplines and studies, books on sacred texts and rituals, and most notably, the writing of Hamid Bey, a seven-ring master of the Coptic mystery schools. Ortrun is ordained as a Coptic minister in 1978. Experiencing Egypt further deepened her desire to understand the mysteries. She founded Key of Life, the mystery school, in 2011. She instructs seekers about path of the mystery schools and assists individuals on their ascension path as a meditation practitioner, chakra blockage clearing practitioner, intuitive spiritual coach, and disembodied spirit emissary. She is a columnist for us at Star Nations Magazine and hosts of of Living in Two Worlds. We changed the name of that. And the name of her title in the magazine is The Mystery School. And so, without further ado, we are going to bring Ortrun into the show with us. There we go. And here she comes. There's Ortrun. And wait, I got to take you off of mute. There we are.
Hi, everyone.
It's so good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, and this is the official launch of the Key of Life. I tell you what, just getting this in the mail, because this is actually the proof copy. Okay, one of them. And being able to hold it in my hands, I can't imagine what it must have felt like for you, Ortrun, to do the same thing, right?
Okay. Well, let me just say that it just really does feel very, very nice. And we just actually sold our condo, and the realtor that was representing the buyer, she felt that, she said, "This feels so good." She said, "Will the regular book be like this?" And I said, "Well, that's the cover." She purchased 2 of them.
Oh my goodness, good for
I
her.
thought that was absolutely wonderful.
Really. I want to make sure that we say hello to a few people before we get rolling, okay? And I wanted to thank Becky, thank you. She says, "Thank you, so excited. The other link wouldn't work." Yes, I know. And thank you for helping us to get it out. We appreciate it so much. Yeah, and she says she loves you guys. We love you.
I love her too.
Yeah, and of course, Joey's here. Hello, Joey.
Yeah.
And Sarah's here too.
That's my massage therapist. She's wonderful.
Oh, yay. Jennifer is here too.
Oh, and Jennifer. Yeah, she's from Florida.
Oh,
she's the one that we get to, she hosts us at her place, do readings when we go to the Metaphysical Society there.
Oh, really?
So
welcome,
Jennifer.
So those who are just joining
us. Been a student of ours, so love her too. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so for those who are just joining us, I would invite you to please share out the link, because we had a little technical issue at the very beginning, and I had to reset the link. And so the old one that's out there isn't working, and so we want everyone to know where we're at. So if you could do that for us, it really would be helpful. Yay. Okay. So tonight is all about Ortrun and all about the launch of her new book. And Ortrun, if you could tell us just a little bit about the book, to describe the book to our audience.
Well, this has been, I'm going to say it's been a book, really a journey of love for me, because it's something that's very dear to my heart. Every one of the articles actually has something to do with me. And what I try to do in the book is to write an article, and the title is Ancient Truths Integrated into the Modern World. And what I do is I have some kind of a story or something that has happened in my life or so on, and then try and bring it from the outer to the inner. So
Mhm.
that there, see that in the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, what was brought forth there was that there was always two levels. There was the outer level. So, for instance, if you were looking at a hieroglyph on the wall of a cave or so on, you could see the hieroglyph and you could see the outer world. You could see the activities that were going on in the outer world. But that was just the outer level. There was always an inner meaning to all that is in those hieroglyphs. And most individuals never ever even think about looking beyond what's on the, oh, those are, lovely pictures. Oh, there's an oxen is pulling a cart, oh, it looks like Tutankhamun's going into battle or something of that sort. But the thing of it is that that's the outer visual part of it. But then you take that within and it takes on a much deeper meaning. So it's taking you from the outer understanding into the inner knowing, and which is there's always a story. It always has a story with it. There's so much more. And then what I do in the book is then I bring it that far and then I continue it with it. Every article has a meditation with it so that you can get the feeling of the outer, move into the spirit realm, and then connect even further with the I am presence of yourself so that you can get that connection of outer, inner, and knowing that it's all part of the whole.
Mhm.
As you're going and spiraling up your stairway to higher ascension.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that I just loved about working and helping you to bring this book to fruition, is that you actually wrote all of the articles for us from the time from 2013 until 2019, and we went through each and every one of your articles, and you handpicked each article and what's going to appear in the book. And then what you did was then you actually wrote some more around those articles.
A few of them I had to because I felt like I needed some kind of introduction because
Yeah.
they're all standalone articles. And this particular book, it's interesting because it can be a good read in itself just because of the articles. But then, as I mentioned, I take it further than that. So there's the articles, then there are the meditations to go along with the articles. And then another idea that we came up with, actually, I think, Neshi, that was really a good idea of yours. And we decided to do this. In the back, we have an appendix where all of the meditations are at also, so that you can read the article, maybe go back and study it again and listen to the meditation. Or if you only want to listen to the meditation, you don't have to shift through the whole book to get to the meditation. You go to the appendix and there is the link to the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a meditation for many, many days, different ones, many of them. But the thing is every article, there are messages. Maybe the outer is something you would just look at once or twice, but when you go to the inner part, those are things you can do because there are actually different types of exercises that you can do to help bring yourself again into that level of a higher consciousness, and how to do that, how to connect. Always that connection is always so important. And really, truly, Egypt is all about connection. And the country of Egypt has a deeper meaning also. First and foremost, if you look again at Egypt on the outer, there's an upper and a lower Egypt.
Oh, let me get that picture out for you, okay? As you're describing that, let me get that out. And here we go. It's just going to take me just a second to get up, you guys. And what she's referring to, oops. Well, that is the front part of it. I got to get the back part.
I don't see any of it. So,
well, the thing is that we turned it in part of it into the bookmark. It's a gift that Ortrun is giving to people who purchase the print copy book. You're going to receive a bookmarker. And what she's talking about is the back part of the book. Let me give it a solo so it looks large. Hopefully you guys can see that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a larger picture in the book. We couldn't find a larger picture to show for tonight. But when you look at this particular picture, that is actually the country of Egypt. And what's interesting about Egypt, the outer itself, there is an upper Egypt and there's a lower Egypt. And also, the interesting thing about Egypt is that the Nile River is flowing. It looks like it's flowing north, but it's actually flowing into, and it's different because it's in the northern hemisphere and everything. The rivers in the northern hemisphere always run south, but in Egypt, so you can, that in itself is saying there's something different about this whole area. So, but, and of course there are now physical temples all along the Nile, and these have always been sacred points, going back as far as when the Atlanteans brought the teachings to this area. And now, upon those places, often you'll see churches built. And you can see the different levels sometimes of what was left of that a time period. But because those are sacred, that's sacred ground. And so that's why those are chosen. And truly, all over the world, when there's a place chosen, even our government with all the beautiful buildings, the obelisks, and so on, that's all on sacred ground. And there's something, they don't know it on the outer, that there is something more powerful there, but there is. There are like ley lines that are going across, and so that these energy centers are there. So that's what you see as if you're looking at visually. But it's also a design of what was used when the students, when the initiates went into the mystery school. And it represents our body. As I said, this is flowing. It looks like it's flowing north. But if you turn that around, where the ocean is, if you can picture yourself in this lotus position, and if you turn it around, this would be Upper Egypt, because this is where Upper Egypt is located physically. And Lower Egypt is in this area. So if you saw yourself sitting there in that position, Upper Egypt, the higher chakras would be, they're shown in this direction being down at the bottom, but in reality, this is the part it would represent. And then the chakras beyond the heart center, where the solar plexus go on down into your base chakra, and on further down into your legs. That is what's considered the lower chakras. But what it really is, it's the chakras that are attached to the planet, to the earth. And what's interesting when I was looking at this picture is how if you're sitting in a lotus position and how your legs would go out. And so the energies, you're grounding it into the world, into the planet. This is the Mediterranean. This is the delta, the Nile Delta, and that goes into the Mediterranean. But that Mediterranean, that water blends throughout the planet. And then that flow of the water will then cover the entire planet. So that is how, whatever it is that we are connecting with, each and every one of us, with the higher essences, we're bringing that on down and grounding it into the planet Earth, and then sharing it with all the planets so that we can all receive those energies. We may not be open to them at the same time, but it is a way for us to go within and then bring it back forth. So in other words, let's just say again, this is your base. And you would be, as a student, you would start with that base chakra. And you would go up and you're actually going to the inner, which would be the moon sign. So you're moving up the west side of the Nile River. The Nile River represents your whole spinal column. And it's called the jet. The jet is the anchoring into the bed of the Nile. And the water of the Nile represents the fluidity, that surrounds the energies that flow throughout that river. And then when the river rises, which it does, of course, there's always that inundation, because once you've reached higher level of awareness and consciousness, you're then bringing that new awareness into, they're bringing it now down back into the world. So you then move to the east side of that bank, and you're moving on downward. So you're moving in first. When you go within, you're going into the west side, which is the moon side. That's the dark side. That's why it's called oftentimes finding the dark night of the soul, because you're going into the darkness to find the light, to recognize and receive that new level of awareness and consciousness. And then you bring it on down from that higher essence of yourself on the east side. That's the awakening side. You know, the sun rises in the east, so that there's new beginning, new thought, and you bring what you have learned back down, and then allow it to flow out into the world. So that's really what Egypt represents within each and every one of us.
You know, and that's why there's so much to learn about it.
There is.
There's so much. And each one of the articles that you wrote and how you wove them into the book and how you place them, literally, guys, is that it is, we start out and she literally walks us through as she laid out the articles and to form the book. She really is taking us down the Nile and then back up, right? And so it's, yeah, so we get to do that. You know, one of the things that I wanted to share with everybody, Ortrun, is that the author special, sign special, because Ortrun is going to sign every book that people order from the 12th of August to the 12th of September. And one of the things that I wanted you to know is that the book is also available in ebook. There isn't a special running on the ebook, but there is a special running on the print book. And so both the book is available in both print and also an ebook. So, and let me tell you, it was so much. I mean, it was like if I could have popped a bottle of champagne when I uploaded the ebook, and there was absolutely no glitches, no nothing, because it's all technology stuff, you know. It went so smooth. It was like, and it was done, and it was like, oh my gosh. And it was like, and here I am, you know, Paul is recovering and stuff, but I was pretty much in my office all by myself doing this. And it was like, yay, we're actually done. We're done. Because the ebook was the last piece to fall into place. Yeah. And so tonight, to celebrate the publishing of Ortrun's book, is that we're giving away 2 print copies tonight to 2 people who are in the live chat tonight. And so we'll get that done before the end of the show, end of the party, and so we'll be able to do that. And so I will also put the link in the comments on if you'd like to purchase a copy at a special price. A book party launch price for an author signed book. So, and you also get the bookmarker, because on one side is that picture that Ortrun was talking about, and on the other side is a quote. Actually, I'm going to show that. You know what I noticed on screen, Ortrun, is that the bookmark is showing horizontal and not vertical. And in the studio, it's the correct way, but on my phone, because I've got the live stream running on my phone too, so I can monitor it. All the pictures are showing horizontal, so you know, just so you know.
No, this is fine. On my screen, it's fine.
Yeah, but on my phone, pictures are showing horizontal. So apologies for that, guys. So here's the quote. This is actually an Ortrun quote. It's what is life? What is death? Life's many challenges, what do they mean? We laugh, we cry, I wonder why. Life is perfection, death is perfection. Flow with the stream and understand. So we put that quote on the bookmark. Yeah.
Well, what I find interesting, even just you're reading it right now, this is something I wrote early on in my metaphysical studies. It wasn't even before I came into Coptics. And when I think about that, because really the message in the Egyptian mystery schools, it's all about life, death, resurrection, and ascension. So, and here I'm writing about early on about life and death and recognizing, flow with the stream and understand, which now I would look at that as being the Nile River flow, allow everything to flow up and down your spinal column so that everything can get washed. All of your chakras can be cleansed and purified so that more and more, higher consciousness is there. And with that, yes, you understand that's what we're trying to do. We're looking at the outer, but you're taking and achieving that inner understanding, that knowing. It's really outer understanding, inner knowing, and that knowing is certainly a deeper level of understanding.
Yeah, yeah, and all of those meditations. Okay, so many people may not know this, but in almost every one of Ortrun's articles that she's written for Star Nations magazine has a guided meditation with it. And so when we were working on bringing all of her articles into the book, we knew that I wanted to have all of those meditations to go along with it. And so when we were kind of rounding everything up, we also had to round up all of the meditations, the audios that were done. And so at the end of each chapter is the link to the guided meditation. And so, especially in the ebook, you just have to click on that link and it'll take you to the meditation. And when you're done with that, you can close that out and it'll bring you right back to where you left off in the book. In the print book, you can always type that into your browser, or we also have, as Ortrun said in the appendix, is that there is a QR code. So if you're technically adept, you can take your phone or your tablet and you can snap the QR code and that'll take you to the meditation, the MP3. So, yeah. So I'm going to put this into the comments.
Well, I know that I tried the QR code and really it's not hard at all. Your iPhones, they all do that automatically. They'll just recognize that this is a QR code and it'll just take you to it. But with the phones, what I found is you have to download
an app.
An app, yeah. And I thought, because he keeps asking for your credit card and that kind of thing, but my daughter said, no, just do it. Once you have the app, then just show just take the snapshot of it on your phone with the camera, and then it takes you to the meditation. And once you've done it, what's interesting is it will keep it on the file for you, because I noticed I had the few different ones that we did our QR code for. It kept it listed, so you don't have to go back every single time. You can just go on your phone then and listen to those if you want. So yeah.
and Rebecca, I think she's saying that she's not technically inclined, and so that's okay. That's all right. You can, when you get the print book, you can just go take it and sit at your computer and just type in the link into your browser, and it'll take you directly to the MP3.
You'll be fine, Becky.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now, you have to also know that there's something that's coming in the future. I can't tell you exactly when. Ortrun and I talked about this a while ago.
Oh.
And
I don't know what we talk about so much.
I know. We've been having conversations for almost 2 years about the book, but I am looking into bringing it in as an audio book.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Yeah. And so with the audio book, we'll be able to also put the MP3s of the meditations right into the book at that point as an audio. So, look for it maybe beginning of next year, maybe, or I can't promise by the end of this year, because you know how that goes. Time
Well,
just flies by so quickly.
well, someone mentioned to me what a great idea, because for individuals that are unable, to read, how then they can listen. And I never really thought about that as much as any. But yes, that could be helpful for many people that would be otherwise unable to learn about or listen or know about the book. So,
Right, right. All right. So I have to ask you this question, Orchard.
okay.
Okay. Actually, it's kind of like a part A, part B. All right. So part A is that when I first asked you if you were interested in publishing your articles as a book, if you can show us just a little bit of the behind the scenes. Okay. What was your first reaction to
Huh.
that request?
Well, that request, oh, it's like, I just don't think I felt adequate at all about doing that, because I never saw myself as a writer. You know, I, I always felt, I always did well in school, and I always did well with things that I wrote, but I never felt that I had that gift, because I didn't start um, studying or knowing anything about the English language until I was in third grade, and I never had that background. So all those years at home, I never learned, I'm going to say, vocabulary that somebody else would already naturally know. So I always felt a little bit inadequate in
Mm,
school, although every time someone read something, they thought it was really very good. But the thing is I didn't feel, because other people's would be so flowery and so expansive, where felt like I was a little bit more logical with my type of writing.
mhm.
But so to be asked to, well, first I think we started this whole thing off. I was going to only be doing meditations.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Mhm.
And so the original articles are very small, because it was just an introduction to the meditation. But then after a while, it just was a natural flow to start talking about these meditations and what they were about, and where the reason why I came up with these meditations. So, and then of course, as time went on, and as you'll see through this book, there's going to be stories, and sometimes it might be linked with one of the temples that might say something about a certain month, because these are monthly articles. And so it may be not necessarily be with month 7, which it might align with a different temple if you were just counting the temples.
Yeah.
But it has to do with, uh, it would have to do, like, with, for instance, an article to be on balance. And balance, would, when I would think of that, I would think of the month of June. But that doesn't mean it's the 5th chakra. So recognize that sometimes you're going to, you might think, why is she talking about a certain month? Or why is she, or, like the fall festivals, things like that. So I bring all those kinds of different things, life things that are going out there on in the outer, and bring it in, and then link it, actually, so where it can connect with the chakra system. That's the whole mystery school part of it.
Mhm. Which is a really good point. Is that yes, this is ancient information coming to you, right?
Mhm.
As a reader, but it's also helping you to apply it to your everyday life. That's one thing, Orchard, you're really, really good at is taking the esoteric, the metaphysical that's up here, and bringing it down to what do we use it for? How does it help our life right now?
Mhm.
And a lot of the meditations that you do helps us with that.
Mhm. Well, that was my journey. I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to incorporate that. It makes life so much easier when there's a different understanding of it.
Mhm.
So there's not just all this outer, it could be trauma going on. And not that I haven't been at that point in my life, especially because my life was really quite, I think it was pretty hard. Lots of challenges until a certain point in my life where, there's always been challenges, but
Mhm.
to a certain point in my life, it was just one thing right after the other, because there were just so many, being a refugee, coming, to the
Yeah.
States, uh, on and on. Those are traumatic things, losing, having lost. Even though I was a baby, I could feel that inner uterally even when my mother was going through this time of war, and even my father, all the responses that they had.
Mhm.
So I've always thought that when I was being born, because my mother had a harder time with me than the two boys, and then the midwife, she said, "What's wrong with you, Milla?" And I have this story actually in here also.
Mhm.
And you've never had a problem having a child. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Well, the times are horrible. But then when I was born, I could just see myself being born and gasping, and that's what I feel I did. I stopped breathing, and it took me quite a while to start breathing again because of the traumatic things through my life, and then losing my father so quickly, and divorces, and losing a child, all kinds of things like that. So then all of a sudden, it's like you're not breathing anymore, and
Mm.
then then to start the breathing, and I have to give my sister-in-law, my niece Joy, who's part of this. She was a big teacher for me. She was doing yoga, and so when someone finally came and taught yoga in the town I lived in, I right away joined yoga. So that's how I got into that. First aspect of meditation was doing the stretches and then relaxing. But then when you can breathe through things, when you're going through life and are able to breathe, and as you're breathing, you're bringing that breath up and down, in and out, higher, lower, and connecting heaven and earth, because that's really what the plan is here for us to do, is to bring, our awareness, our consciousness, all our learning, and not only share it with the earth because it's placed in the Akashic record on the planet, but it's to share it with everyone, and to share, and then it also is shared within the heart and mind of the divine. So
Oh my goodness. Well, we got to answer this one for Rebecca. She said,
okay.
I just ordered my book. Thank you. And wanted to order one for a friend, but I only had one for an option. Oh, yeah, because I shared the social media link because it's a shorter link, easier link. I can give you can use that same one again if you want to, or I can also put in the website link here. Here it is. So if you go to Star Nation's website and use this link, you'll see the book there as well. And then just click it there, and it'll take you directly to PayPal, I believe. So there. Thank you, by the way, Rebecca, for doing that. Appreciate it. So that you'll get your signed book.
One
Yes.
of one of the things I'd like to mention too is what I found with me, for me, what happened, and I think this happens for many of us, that we are very often prompted on a path way, way before we are ever enter that path. And as I mentioned, even with this bookmark, what I read, how that really intertwines with what this book is about.
Mhm.
And that was so early on. But and but even before that, I was really ready for something different because I had just left a marriage, and I knew I had to seek something different. And I walked into and again, I share this, but I'm going to share it live with you right now. Is I walked into a 5 and 10 store, if anyone remembers those. And I just happened to look in the jewelry counter, and there was this unusual cross, which I'd never seen a cross like this before. But I looked at it, and it was not a straight cross, how the normal cross we're used to, the Christian cross. It had a loop at the top, and then there was a little turquoise. It was not a real turquoise, but it was right in the center is a little stone. But I looked at it and I said, "Oh, everlasting life," and I purchased it, and I wore it for 6 years. I really wore this very often, um, when I was working. And then, but I never again saw that again. I mean, I never saw it anywhere until I was introduced to Coptics. And I was looking through their introductory literature, and under light ministry was that that same cross, and it was called the Ankh. And the Ankh, of course, goes back to the ancient times, to the ancient Egyptian times. And I remember learning, and this is really something I learned actually through Coptics, not from Hamid, but through Coptics, is that the cross, the Christian cross too, that's our path. It is our path to higher ascension. And so you're walking that cross, and when you come to the part, because we carry the cross with us, because we are, if you stretch your arms out, we carry the cross, always as a reminder. So you're walking and you come to the, where do we stretch out our arms? But it's right there in that heart center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the heart center, that's really the decision-making point. In the ancient Egyptian times, and up to this time in the esoteric, that is considered the seat of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the decision is made. And this is where Isis sits very often. And she, on top of her head, she has this little stairway, which represents that this is where the decision is made. Are you going to continue the path, or are you going to return? So the only difference with the ancient Egyptian cross and the cross of today is that it has the loop, which shows it a little bit more clearly, actually, of what the belief was. The ancient belief was that, okay, here's the decision-making part, and it was overseen by Ma'at, who was the goddess of truth. And when you died, because there, of course, there was the reincarnation, the incarnation, very, very much believed. And that's what the loop is that looping around and coming back again until you are finally to the point where you don't have to come back again. And then, but Ma'at, she puts her feather of truth on one side, your heart on the other, when you make this, when you go through this death process.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is balanced, then you no longer have to return. You've finished your lessons upon the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go up into next spiral of higher learning and awareness and consciousness. So, but I found that interesting that I was able to, I walked into that store and the first thing I was, oh, everlasting life. Where did I know that from? And then, okay, and then light ministry, And then it wasn't within a few days that the director of Coptics called me and said that Hamid Bey, who had passed away, he was the one that brought the ancient Egyptian mystery school to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That he came to him in meditation and said, Ortrun is to be ordained with Carl. And the director, he said, okay, in his meditation. And Hamid said, you call her now. And he actually literally kicked him out of his meditation to call me to say I was to be ordained.
Uh-huh.
And that was something else in itself to think, what, me?
Mm-hmm.
I was raised Catholic. I'm thinking, me, a priest? I couldn't even fathom it. But I had been praying about being able to do counseling. And because I've had lots of life experience, spiritual counseling. And the universe opened that up for me by becoming a Coptic minister. So, we are guided. And if you look back in your life, look and see the different things that have occurred to you that have led you to something you'd never have thought about that years and years before. But now all of a sudden, here you are. And then, of course, look where else it's led me from that point on. That was the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I just put the picture of the cover of the book up again because of the Ankh that we have here. And this is just a little peek behind the curtain, guys, is that when we first started, just even kind of what kind of cover would you like for the book, Ortrun? And I sent you to a site that I purchased pictures from. And you went and you looked and you searched and you came up with two different pictures. And you had this idea about it. And so I shared your idea with our layout specialists at Elfhelm Publishing and the Owls, I call them. And this is what they came up with. Now, there was some tweaking to it. And so this is actually three different photos put together to create this image. And it's a pretty profound image because we have this profound information, ancient information coming from the stars down onto the earth plane. And so this is really Ortrun's daydream about how could we make this work? Can we make this work? And and of course they did it. They have elfish magic. they can do just about anything.
Well, what's interesting about this is that the hand coming down, that actually is a hieroglyphic picture. It's in the stone.
Mhm.
And we have a postcard that Neshi made. It's also for this
Yeah.
particular launch. But in the back, most people don't notice it, but you can see the whole picture, and it's actually one of the goddesses holding that ankh,
Mhm.
and you can see her outline too of her body and so on. So you can see it's actually see how you can see this is the one hand coming down. This is her other hand, and here's her body. So this is the ancient um, Egyptian hieroglyph, and then the world and the key of life, and one of the things that they did in the mystery schools was when they would use that ankh, and you would point it in so that you could unlock the truth, the higher truths. And
Mhm.
then when you took that ankh and you pointed it now outward to someone else, that's when you're sharing that information. Similar to what the Nile River represents when you're going up the West Bank, going within, and then coming back on the east side, going within into the moon side, which is the meditative side, and then coming back out through down the east and bringing it back into the world. So it's that sharing that, and with that ankh coming down, it's pulling us up, right? Because every time we do that loop,
Mhm.
we're being pulled up further and further, lifting the planet, not just ourselves, but also the planet up into higher levels of awareness and consciousness.
Just because we're doing our work. We're good to do that, right? Now, I'm just looking at the time. We do have something that we'd like to do with our audience. And that is, I had asked Ortrun if she could select a passage out of her new book, and if she would share it with us, read it to us. We have a couple. Joey is saying it's a beautiful cover.
Thank you, Joey.
And I know that I'm partial, but I so agree.
Yeah, I hopefully this isn't going to be too long, but this for some reason this is the one that came to me earlier today, and it's still coming to me, so I'm going to go ahead and read it.
All right.
But it's one who is simply made up of physical body composed of flesh, blood, and bones. Yes, you are that and much more. The Bible gives us more of a clue as to what a human is. In Genesis 1:26 through 27, it states, "And God said, let us make man in our image and likeness." Thus God created both man and woman, male and female, after his likeness. And in Psalms 8, verses 1 through 6, it goes on to say, "Man is triune, a being comprised of spirit, soul, and body. Then God breathed spirit into the body, and it became a living soul." So we are a living soul. So what is the soul composed of? The soul is composed of, number one, the chakra system. It consists of 7 major chakras and 5 minor chakras running along the spinal column. Additionally, there are many, many subchakras and meridians within the physical body. The word chakra comes from the Hindu word meaning wheels of spinning energy. And Deepak Chopra says, chakras are governed by spiritual law and principles of consciousness that we can use to cultivate greater harmony, happiness, and well-being in our lives and the world. So there are many components to our soul, and the second component is the auric system, or the subtle bodies. The term subtle bodies describe the various layers of vibrating energy beyond the obvious physical layer. And there are 7 of them, and they are the etheric body. That's the first and closest layer in the human energy field or aura. It connects the higher or subtle bodies to the physical body. The emotional body, the second layer away from the human body, It is associated with feelings since it contains the rainbow color spectrum. It changes color depending on what emotion is being expressed, such as love, peace, joy, frustration, etc. The mental body, the third layer from the human body, it holds our thoughts and mental processes. It tends to be yellow in color, which indicates deep thought. The color can change depending on emotions associated with the thought. The astral body, the fourth layer from the human body, it is considered to be the bridge from the physical to the spiritual plane. It contains the spectrum from dark to light hues of the rainbow colors. The hues produced depend on what focus is placed on either the physical or the spiritual. The etheric template body, the fifth layer from the human body, it is a reflection of the light body template contained in our physical plane blueprint. The celestial body, the sixth layer from the human body, it is the spiritual emotional plane. It is here that the higher spiritual vibrations of divine love, light, joy, and ecstasy are experienced. The celestial body is reached by raising our level of awareness through meditation. Its color palette consists of the soft glowing pastel color spectrum, the causal body. The seventh level from the human body, it is a spiritual mental plane. The causal body's structure is of gold and silver vibration. It is here that we recognize and know that we are one with the divine. And so there are a few other bodies. There's actually four bodies, and then you go into the spiritual body. The spirit body is the organization of the spiritual elements of the chakra and the auric system. So all this that I've read about, that is the composition of what the spiritual body is all about. And then that physical body anchors the spirit body into the earth plane. Your soul is a composition of the auric body, which includes its many subtle bodies and many chakras located within the physical body. The first three chakras and the first subtle bodies of the aura focus on the physical aspect. The fourth chakra and fourth subtle body is the bridge between the physical and spiritual bodies. The fifth through the seventh chakra, and the fifth through the seventh subtle bodies focus on the higher aspects. Each subtle body connects to a certain main chakra located along the spinal column. This directs energy into the minor chakras and meridian system. If any one of the energy centers or bodies is out of balance, the others are affected. By keeping the chakras clear and subtle bodies balanced, the soul's evolutionary evolvement, from mortal to immortal, occurs smoothly. So what I read here actually very much describes what ancient Egypt describes. It describes the chakras as being, we see them as the temples along the river Nile, and all of these different levels of awareness that we are, and really how much more we are than what we realize. We're not just that flesh and blood. And just to think about that little dot down here on the earth plane, that we are, that's what we look like, that it contains all of this and really more than that. And so I go on to say that you are created in the image and likeness of God, Goddess. You are a Christed diamond radiating from the sun with its many facets of love, peace, joy, honor, glory, power, harmony, wisdom, knowledge, and strength. You are a living soul, having descended from the heart and mind of the divine I am. You're all of this and more. And then I give a little exercise, and this is what I try and do also in my articles, is to give some kind of exercise that you can do yourself. And then I say, take a moment and focus on the words in the above paragraph. Go within. Repeat the words above, replacing the word you with I am, with conviction. And repeat the words again and again until they resonate throughout your entire being and become an integral part of the reality. And so if you were to substitute that and put the I am where the you is, it says, I am created in the image and likeness of God, Goddess. Because every time you say the word I am, you're acknowledging the divine essence within you, the I am that is within you, that is God. And that I am a Christed diamond, radiating from the sun with its many facets of love, peace, joy, harmony, wisdom, knowledge, strength. I am a living soul, having descended from heart and mind of the divine I am. I am all this and I am more. So by repeating that kind of a mantra within yourself, that's a tremendous, tremendous lifting up. So I think that's probably where I should end at this point in time. But then to end out the little reading or the little chapter, then I also lead you then into a meditation so that you can get even a deeper sense of who it is that you are. So
Yeah, and we also have the winners of the giveaway, and so we have two people who are in the live chat who are watching. There's a couple people who haven't said anything, but I can see who they are on my phone, and so randomly selected. Randomly selected. We have two people,
all right.
and the first one is Sarah Sue Haring. I hope I pronounced that.
Oh, good. Yay.
Karen Bloomer. So you'll be receiving a print copy of the book, author signed. Ortrun will sign it for you and mail it out to you. And so what you need to do is you need to contact me at my email address. I've got that in the comments at starnationspublishing@gmail.com, so that you can send me your postal address so that we can make sure that we get it mailed out to you. And so if you could do that in the next day or two, that would be great. So congratulations to
Joan, hey,
Sarah Sue and Karen.
and also Karen. No, who was it? Was it
Sarah Sue
Sarah, no.
and Karen Bloomer.
Karen, who is it?
Bloomer?
Okay, I don't. That's welcome. Welcome. I
B-L-U-M-E-R.
don't think I've met you before.
Yeah.
With it.
I also see that your layout specialist for your book is in the house too.
Yeah.
Saying congratulations.
Thank you for your beautiful assistance in all of this.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for everything you've done for this book.
And Joan is also saying hurrah, hurrah. I know it was, I want to say it was a long time coming, but it was also a journey that taught, I think, both of us a lot along the way. Nothing horrendous or anything like that, but I think it was also, to practice what we preach,
It was really our growing with it,
Mm-hmm.
our growing with it, and our inner lessons.
Yes.
So I just want to mention that the book will be printed later in the month. Is that correct, or is it already being printed?
It's being printed as we speak.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I ordered them. I think it was yesterday. The days are melding together, you guys. So I don't remember today's right. I think I ordered them on Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
And they're going to be shipped directly to you.
Right. So then once I get them, and we'll start signing them, and I'll get them out to you. So hopefully we'll have them out by the end of the month, right?
Yes.
That'll be, so that's not too far off. That's only a couple.
No, and we should thank all those people who did the pre-sale with us, that bought their book pre-sale before it was even printed, before it was even completed at the platform. So thank you all for doing that. Those that did the pre-sale, thank you so much. This is, Ortrun, I want to thank you for being brave and saying yes.
Well, as I said, I felt a little vulnerable. I feel vulnerable on one hand because I'm really sharing myself. I'm really opening myself up because this was my path. This is how I was able to get to where I am at, my level of awareness and life. But and the intent really of the book is so that possibly by someone reading it, they can also say, hey, oh, she did it. I can too. And I can give a few little hints possibly of what they might be able to do to get there.
Right. To help somebody else along the path that wants to be an author. So
there's an author also, right?
Well, isn't that true though?
So
Now, Ortrun has a new designation, and that is author.
She told me I had to put an author hat on now. It's going to be different than, yeah, contributing writer.
So true, so true. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It is such an honor and a privilege to be able to walk this part of the path with you and to be there to help you bring this to the world. It's just
Thank you for all your help, too, truly, because the work of trying to get all these stories together, and then her pulling all these meditations together, pulling them out again. One's from, like you said, back to 2013, right?
Yep.
A lot to look at. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and we learned a lot along the way. And every time we publish anything here at Star Nations, there's always a little something that gets added to, oh, I didn't know how to do that before. I guess I'm going to learn now.
Yeah.
So it's always something always. And so that's it. That's the exciting part for me, is to learn something new that way. So, and the one that's going to happen with this book for sure is that we are looking at turning it into an Audible book. Hopefully we'll have it out next year. I don't want to promise in 2020 yet because we're already in August, and I don't know how I would fit that in to be able to have it done by the end of the year. And so we have a special price on the author signed book special that's running from August 12th to September 12th. And the special price on that is $12.95. It will go to its retail price is this is coming from Lulu, so you know that we didn't set the price. I think it was $15.08. I think that's a Lulu price, Lulu.com price. So yeah, thank you so much for making time to be with us tonight, everyone. Thank you so much. And we have just a couple of comments here. Karen is saying very excited for her book.
Hi, Karen. I'm glad. Now I recognize you. I have seen you.
And your niece, your niece, Joey, she's saying, thank you so much, Ortrun Nashi. Happy for you. Definitely.
Thank you, Joey.
Yeah. Yeah. Any last words, Ortrun, before we say good evening?
Well, I just love every single one of you. It's really wonderful being with all this group of individuals that's been part of this program tonight. And I certainly wish you all the best. Tons of blessings on your journey to higher awareness and consciousness. That is my hope for you. And I am here to support you if there is anything that I can do for you. So just remember that.
And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being with us this evening and joining in the book launch party. So appreciate it. And we'll see you around this coming week on Star Nations. We have all kinds of live stream shows for you. So I'm sure we'll see you guys on the flip side of that. So with that, Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.
Auf Wiedersehen.